is included, and we run it to break even. And we are doing a water rate study next year. We do them every 3 to 4 years to set our water rates for the future, and so we'll be looking at all of that as well. So George, if you want to jump in from there.
You know, and we have your contact information, and somebody from our finance department is going to reach out to you tomorrow, and they'll be able to schedule an appointment. We come out to your house, we can take a look at the meter and kind of explain all of the nuances for that. But just to piggyback on what the mayor said, everything that the village bills as far as water is concerned, our water and sewer fund is a self-supporting entity. It's a business. It's its own business. So it is a break-even, like the mayor said. We buy our water from the city of Chicago indirectly through Oak Lawn, so there are no markups. It is strictly a break-even business. So if there is a specific issue, we're going to have finance and public works work with you on that to resolve those issues.
And what I will add too is, and believe me, I had an $850 bill, which is the highest I've ever gotten, so I researched it. So I understand, I think we all understand the pain, but unfortunately it's pass-through cost from the city of Chicago, it's pass-through cost from Oak Lawn, but it's also due to the infrastructure, but because we don't want to have what's happening in Dixmoor now, what happened in Michigan, in Flint, we don't want to have that happen, so we try and stay on top of all of our infrastructure. And when you look at when we were constructed and we grew a lot in the mid-70s to mid-90s. Well, those things right now, if you look at the ages on that, that's 30 to 50 years, we're having to replace all that stuff right now. So that's part of the reason why these costs are, because we have to replace those mains. If we don't stay on top of it, then we have a situation like we've had in other towns, and we definitely don't want that. So we continue to look at it. The other issue that we have as well is we have a second, people don't know this, we don't have a redundant water system right now. That's a fact. If we were to unfortunately get a water main break under the CalSag, I'm not exaggerating, when people in some of the suburbs, they're going to die because we will not have enough water for them. Okay. Now, fortunately, we've never had that, and we obviously monitor, the whole system monitors the CalSag to make sure that doesn't happen, but we've had water mains that have caused a lot of towns to get down to where they have no reserves left as we're trying to get those fixed. So there is a regional water project that gives us a second line that allows us to have a redundant system so that can never happen. And that's about an 8-year construction project, Rashid, right? And we've got, what, about 2 years left on that? 2 or 3? Yeah, about 3 years left on that, and that will allow the everything that's on the system to have basically 2 lines, so that if something happens catastrophically to one, the other one can still get water. So the way systems are designed today, they're designed on a loop where you can do that. The old system that we have was not designed that way many years ago, decades or even a century ago. So all of the communities around us agreed to that. It was actually in place when I got here. It's a very expensive project, $250 million, and our portion of that, based on our usage, is about 26%. So it's an important project, but that too will get passed on through the water bills because we have to pay for it, and we have to pay Oak Lawn for the money that they have borrowed to do the system. So those are things that are coming as well, and we do everything we can as a community and as all the neighboring mayors to keep those costs as low as we can. And I know that direction's already been given to George and to staff in our budget meetings about ensuring how tightly we're looking at our water system. So. Any other comments from the board on that?
Time for board comments.
Any other people to speak? Okay, board comments. Trustee Healy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All I want to say is that if you were lucky enough to attend the Veterans Memorial, it was a wonderful event honoring our veterans, and I was duly impressed by Lieutenant Colonel Hannigan from I believe it's the Army Reserve, who spoke. Lieutenant Colonel Hannigan was a graduate of Sandburg High School, and he did an excellent job of connecting the citizens of Orland with their need to stay involved with the veterans. And it was a wonderful event. I was glad to be there. Thank you.
Trustee Reardon.
Thank you. They just walked out, but I wanted to make one more point about the water, is that
Mayor Rahm Emanuel, before he left, gave a gift that kept on giving. He passed something in the city of Chicago that over every year, every 2 years, the water to pay for pensions was a huge revenue source to pay for pensions for increase the water cost, which is now being, of course, passed on to Oak Lawn, which is then being passed on to us. So they're in such bad shape in Chicago that they were looking for anywhere they could to pass through the cost. There's a huge article out about, I think it was last week about it, so they just happened to walk out, but something they can look at. I want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving that's coming up. There's a lot of activities going on. There's check our social media, sites for, there's both volunteer opportunities, turkey trot, things like that we'd love to see as many people out as possible. Congratulate Heinz McCarthy. We love it. Our family, we get it all the time. It's fantastic. Great honor, great family business. Been here, I've only been here 13 years, but it's been a staple, so thank you. Our sponsors, that's just amazing. I mean, it was already set up here, but to get that much support year in, year out from these sponsors, it's very nice to see. And hopefully people can get back to some family traditions over Thanksgiving. I think last year and even the year before were a little cut short on that, so I'm very much looking forward to some traditions and getting back together with family, so thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Radiszewski.
I too want to, make sure that I, tell everybody happy Thanksgiving. I hope that you have an opportunity to spend time with your family and, take a moment to think about, just the meaning of it, and just to be grateful for what we have. And I'm grateful for the friends and family and the people that I have supporting me in my life. And it's just an opportunity to, to make sure that you do that. And I want to thank also to our sponsors. You guys do a great job of helping us, helping the Village of Orland Park with all the events that we have. I know it was mentioned in the COW meeting, but I wanted to mention it again here and just, just to say thank you to all of our sponsors. And that's it. Hope everybody enjoys the holiday.
Trustee Milani.
Thank you, everybody, for coming this evening. First, I wanted to thank everyone that attended our Veterans Day event as well on Thursday, November 11th. We appreciate everyone that came to pay the respects to our veterans that have served our great country, and thank you for showing your gratitude by adding 6 new names to the memorial wall at Arapache. Also, earlier today, we recognized many sponsors, both large and small, at the Committee of the Whole that have supported our village with their gratuitous contributions, and we definitely appreciate their support. In July of 1863, the Battle of Gettysburg resulted in more than 50,000 American casualties. And despite these losses, the United States gained a great victory during these 3 days. On October 3rd, 1863, with this victory in mind as well as its cost, Abraham Lincoln issued a proclamation regarding Thanksgiving. And I'll quote from that. "I do therefore invite my fellow citizens in every part of the United States to set apart and observe the last Thursday of November next as a day of Thanksgiving. And I recommend to them that while offering up the ascriptions justly due to him, that they do also with humble penitence for our national perverseness and disobedience. Commend to his tender care all those who have become widows, orphans, mourners, or sufferers in the lamentable civil strife in which we are unavoidably engaged, and fervently implore the interposition of the Almighty hand to heal the wounds of the nation and to restore it as soon as it may be consistent with the divine purposes to the full enjoyment of peace, harmony, tranquility, and union." As I look back at the last few Thanksgiving holidays, I feel that Lincoln's message still carries meaning today. I feel that at times we've forgotten what we should be thankful for. We've forgotten how to work together. We've sometimes forgotten how to care. But instead of moving forward, our national perverseness and disobedience continues. For example, the abuse of powers through executive orders. People continue to be sufferers in the lamentable civil strife, such as recent examples of social unrest. And we most definitely need to heal the wounds of our great country and bring back peace, harmony, and tranquility, and restore the values that our Constitution provides before they are taken away from us forever. So as we approach this Thanksgiving, take a moment to think about one thing you can do to make a difference in someone's life. Think about how you can show that you are thankful for them, what they have done, and who they are. Hug a loved one, buy a meal, or simply make a phone call, or take a picture with someone, or shake someone's hand. Simple gestures can make a huge difference in someone's life. Be graceful, be thankful, and have a happy Thanksgiving.
Trustee Compass.
I'd just like to add my voice in wishing everybody a very blessed and happy Thanksgiving season. Hopefully everyone will have time to rest and reflect on their blessings and gratitude for others. And then as we all too often very quickly move into the next season, I just want to remind everyone to please, whenever possible, shop and eat locally. And that's it. Thank you all.
Trustee Katsinas.
I just wanted to say it's nice to be back in my own seat. I liked being the big cheese, but I'm glad you're back. I just want to reiterate again about our sponsors. You know, we had a meeting earlier that we had some of the sponsors here, but we have an awful lot that weren't here. So if you look on our website, it will be posted there, and if we could support those who support us, because without their support, the programs wouldn't be what they are. So keep that in mind. And Heine's, thank you for being here. Longtime Orland family-owned business. Thank you very much. And to everyone else, have a very happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. And I want to thank everyone for putting on the Veterans Day event, and I also want to thank all of our sponsors. And my comments tonight are going to be largely around the sponsors in our economy, which has generally thrived for over a century because of the many interconnections and relationships we've established year after year and decade after decade between businesses, between their customers and their employees, and businesses and other businesses. The challenges our businesses are facing, and I heard this tonight a little bit from the folks at Heine's, the highest inflation rate in decades, supply chain issues, labor shortages, all of these, etc. They are not happening because of COVID, as many would like you to believe. They are happening because of our reaction to it. Governors locked down small retail stores and restaurants while leaving big corporations open. Governors declared some workers essential while stating that others were not. Our governor paid state employees for doing nothing, while taxpayers who were out of work because they weren't essential continued to be gouged. Congress and governors paid people to not work via unemployment, more to not work via unemployment than they made in the jobs they previously held or they would make when returning to work. All of these actions had zero impact on the pandemic, but massively damaged our economy and destroyed the interconnections and relationships that make our economy strong. Labor shortages, supply shortages, inflation rates not seen in over 3 decades, gas prices doubling, and the list goes on. At the time these decisions were made, many people, including mayors and elected officials, pointed out that the decisions were bad and overreaching. Looking back, they were right. Now we have the actions taken by the president and the governor mandating vaccines. From this, we have witnessed massive travel disruptions, flight cancellations, supply chain disruptions. However, it is much, much worse than this. Healthcare workers, police officers, and firefighters, who were our first line of defense against COVID and put their own health and safety at risk, are being fired for not getting a vaccine. Unvaccinated employees with companies with federal contracts are being fired. 10 to 15% of the workforce for contractors in national defense and intelligence are being walked out the door. What could possibly go wrong? Keep in mind that even businesses that are 90% vaccinated are seeing 10% of their workforce fired. This is putting us all at risk. Emergency services, defense, police protection, fire protection, healthcare, etc., etc. This madness has to stop. We can live with COVID using common sense. Stop destroying our economy, our livelihoods, and our lives. However, here in Illinois, we don't stop. The governor and the legislature doubled down, specifically making COVID an exception to the Healthcare Conscience Act. Why would they do this? Because it gives businesses and government entities the unprecedented authority to enforce the governor's continuing mandates that are now over 20 times longer than allowed by law, and were just extended today for another 30 days. And this, for all of this, and this disease has little impact on children. And we're doing this to children. As of last week, approximately 2 million children in Illinois were in the hospital with COVID. In the last 10 months, there have been over 5 times that number of children killed from being shot in Cook County alone, mostly in Chicago. More than 5 times as many that have died from COVID since this began. And all of those had comorbidities, all of those children that died. Nationally, there have been 12 times as many child suicides than children who have died with COVID. Here are some of the latest Illinois COVID statistics. 5% of all hospitalizations currently are with COVID-like illnesses. 5%. Since mid-October, 24% of COVID-like hospitalizations were vaccinated, were people who were vaccinated, and 40% of COVID deaths were vaccinated. Given that 71% of everyone age 12 and over and 87% age 65 and over in Illinois are vaccinated, fully vaccinated, all this information tells us the vaccine does not stop the spread of this, but it appears to significantly reduce the severity of the disease in our most vulnerable population. So please talk to your physician and decide what to do, what is best for you. I'll also note that 72% of vaccinated COVID-like hospitalizations are over 65 years old, and 0% are under 17. 87% of vaccinated COVID-related deaths are over 65, and 0% are 17 or under. COVID remains a very challenging disease for our most vulnerable populations. So if you are feeling sick, please consult your physician immediately, as treatment regimens have improved greatly. I can't emphasize this enough for our senior population. If you feel sick, call your doctor. Get treatment early, because if you wait, you're going to get behind this and it's going to be problematic. Okay, we're still seeing that. COVID is not going away. And here in Orland Park, we've demonstrated that time and time again that we can live with COVID. We safely kept parks open when everyone else closed them. We safely held concerts when no one else in Illinois was doing them. We safely allowed youth sports teams to play tournaments here in Illinois instead of having to travel to Indiana to do so. We safely kept our police department strong and our citizens safe by educating our employees and allowing them to make decisions for themselves and not forcing anything upon them. We haven't mandated any of that on our police force. And if you recall, we also helped our seniors by providing transportation and sourcing vaccines from private businesses when the state refused to give us any. We got over 1,300 doses. Orland Park is a great community and an example of how we can still live our lives in spite of this pandemic. I hope others follow our example so that they can move forward in a positive way. I look forward to seeing all of you at the Christmas lighting, or the holiday tree lighting, on November 28th on Sunday. And what time is that? 6 o'clock? 6 o'clock? The festival starts at 4 o'clock, and the tree lighting is at? Is at 5. Okay, so the parade starts at 4, and the tree lighting starts at 5. So I'm glad I could get you the right time there. So thank you very much, and have a great and wonderful Thanksgiving. I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Compass.
I move to go into executive session for A, approval of minutes, B, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performances, or dismissal of specific village employees, C, collective negotiating matters between the village and its employees or their representatives or deliberations concerning salary schedules or one or more classes of employees, D, pending litigation against, affecting, or on behalf of the village, or when found by the board that such action is probable or imminent.
Second.
Call the roll.
Trustee Compass.
Aye.
Trustee Malani.
Aye.
Trustee Healy.
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas.
Aye.
Trustee Reardon.
Aye.
Trustee Radiszewski.
Aye.
Mayor Peacock.
Aye.